welcome to another edition of our complete Dragons of Tarkir set review. I'm Evan Irwin.
Brad Nelson.
And we are here to talk about all the red cards, all the Atarka cards. That guy's awesome. I can't wait to talk about Atarka, but we're going to start with his Efreet. We're going to talk about his Efreet, which is one of those cards that is like not good, but has a really kind of neat ability. It doesn't megamorph for a whole ton, which is nice. You can megamorph on turn, or you can morph on turn 3, unmorph the next turn with a mana left over, which is nice and all. I think the real issue is that 1 damage doesn't really kill much of anything in this format.
It doesn't, but it's a huge chunk of damage. Now, like, we had that Canyon Walkers or Lurkers, Canyon Lurkers, where it was one of the worst morphs. Well, to be fair, the 3/3 for first strike was by far the worst one.
Yeah.
But the 5/2 wasn't that great, but sometimes it would just flip up and kill like this big creature, or they didn't want to block because they were thinking it was a high toughness creature, and all of a sudden it dealt this huge chunk of damage. But this one can potentially deal 7 damage to them in one swing. And
That's fair.
Red does like aggression, so I don't think that this is like a premium card by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But it's going to win like a higher percentage of games that it's indexed than most cards in the format.
That's fair. I mean, every time I keep forgetting that like there's this like, you know, attacking and then megamorph and then cool things happen.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep forgetting that, but regardless, you know, it certainly seems really sweet when this guy hits for 6 or even for 7 if he just doesn't get blocked. Like, oh, I just took a third of your life total for 3 mana.
Yeah, I think that this card's like not premium, nothing you're gonna be excited about.
Probably
but
get it
you will,
late, mid-late.
Yeah, you're gonna get it very late. It's gonna be like a 9th, 10th, 11th pick. If you're like the red drafter, I mean, if it won't be there if you're not supposed to be the red drafter, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but this to me is just sort of like, how does red deal with huge dragons? Well, they have really cool surprises because this guy can take down basically any dragon.
And you can't roast a dragon. That is just not a thing.
Well, you could.
You couldn't.
You could.
How?
They're delicious. You roast them up.
I mean,
barbecue
you
sauce.
try to get them down to the ground though. You gotta pin to the earth them. Wait, no, that's a flavor fail too.
Oh, wow, that was a huge flavor fail.
Yeah.
And now that I think of it, roast doesn't hit flyers, so you're right.
Yes,
you can't roast them. All right, fine. Moving on. Now here is the Pummeler. He's pummeling you. All right, buddy. 5 mana, 4/5. Talk about formidable.
All right. Well, first, this is like probably the sweetest art because you don't know if it's a cannon or he's just gonna break down some walls. I just love it.
He's just
looks like he's got this big bazooka, but
Pretty
formidable.
sweet.
I was telling Evan about this, so that's why he showed it to me. Formidable is my favorite flavor turned ability of all time.
Of all time?
Of all time. Like,
All time?
Yeah, keyword ability of all time, because when I saw it, I just like, it blew my mind to think about like, so in cons, you had Ferocious, where Ferocious was this ability that was all about kind of like the pit fight, you know, like the gruel, but it was teamer, like you wanted to be the biggest in your clan, and that's what you tried to do. And everyone cared about their individual power and where they ranked in the clan. But now that the dragons didn't die and the whatever in the sky didn't stop, kind of like...
The wheel in the sky?
Well, no, like there's an actual like dragon thing. That's the...
Kept turning.
Is that what it is? The wheel in the sky that kept turning? Do you know what it's called? Like the Dragon Gate? I don't know what you're talking about. Is that the sun?
Just making an REO Speedway.
Oh.
Oh man, that was so good. I thought you was like trolling back, and then I was
No,
like,
it's
man, he
before
is
my
totally
time.
next level trolling me. And then I was like, oh man, he doesn't know terrible 70s music like I do.
No, I don't.
Okay, great. All right. So, I don't care about what's going on in the sky of Tarkir, Brad.
Now you're gonna have to send me the
This is
song.
why we do these things.
Yeah,
this
now you're gonna have
is
to send me
why.
that song, but-
Right here. Oh God, I will make you listen to that song.
Okay, so the Dragon Gate, or whatever it's called, that Ugin, it disappeared when Ugin died. See, I don't even have any context that it's not even funny to me.
Oh, it's so good. The people at home, they know what's going on here. Okay, so just, all right, forget about the things in the sky.
I feel like I've spent my entire life at the kiddie table right now. Like, I have no idea what's going on. But, so Formidable now, with the dragons existing, all the green and red creatures, they had to band together because, like, being individuals, they would just die, right? There was bigger threats at hand.
Sure.
So, like, I love that Formidable is now that your entire team has to have a certain amount of power, so they all get better.
Right.
And you just have to work as this team. So that whole dynamic of, like, the time change, like, was unbelievable. Like, I thought Ferocious, like, there was a good chance they would keep that, but I guess they just cut off all 5 abilities or keywords.
Yeah, I mean, basically, it seems like they kind of chopped all of them out or whatever, and that's fine.
It is fine, but, like, Formidable, I think, is just so flavorful and so beautiful the way that this whole storyline works out, and it's just a good ability along with the flavor behind it, and it's just great. Like Dash, whatever, Dash, you're fast. That's kind of stupid, like in the flavor sense of things. Like
Yeah, so
they're
stupid, you're
quick.
fast. Oh my god.
Like Kolaghan made you quick. Ooh, it's so cool. But like this is like an entire tribe of things defining the way that they interact with each other, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, this certainly seems like to be like the best sort of flavorful keyword evolution, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, going from here and then you go back in time and you go forward in time. You know, I really appreciate that kind of gave the opportunity for the designers and the developers to just really sort of send up the flavor and really kind of help you feel kind of what happens in the story and to tell the story through the cards and the mechanics, and that really sort of comes through. And they did a good job with that. And the fact that this guy sort of gets you already halfway there, you know, I mean, I think that this card is most of them do. They're really very large, and that's great because you know that activated ability. While it looks like you know, oh man, 8 power is so tough to do. It's like Modern Magic. You have 8 power after like 3 or 4 turns easily.
Atarka is 8 power.
Atarka by himself.
It actually is formidable.
Either way, good card. How high of a pick order on this guy?
I mean, he's just a 4/5 for 5. His ability is okay in certain situations, but it's useless in most. So it's kind of a vanilla creature until it wins the game. So I don't
until Oops wins the game.
So I don't know how big or how I take it. It's not like a first pick. It's probably not. It's probably middle. It's like this is the kind of card I'm going to want once I'm defined into the strategy and not pushes me into it.
Yeah, this certainly doesn't kind of push you into any sort of archetype or like, oh, I now have to do X because I've got the Atarka Pummeler. Like, like it's good, probably 5th to 8th type pick, which is cool. Berserker's Onslaught is a card that I just, as a Timmy, you know, deep down, because I like big effects that are really cool, you know, I would love to see this in Standard. And I just know, and then the spike half of me goes, you're an idiot, this will never hit Standard. But, you know, they just keep pushing Double Strike. They push it and they push it and they push it. And I think they've kind of realized that, like, Double Strike just not, it's not that cool. It's not that special. I mean, I still think it's cool, but I don't know if it's about that special. It's not like something they kind of hold back anymore, you know? Like, everything gets Double Strike. And now, literally everything gets Double Strike.
Yeah, I mean...
Limited Bomb, though. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, it's going to be really good and limited, just like Dictate of Heliod was. But neither of those saw play because... Guess what happens when your opponents kill all your creatures, which is what Standard's about. These cards.
Dictate of Heliod did see a little bit of play.
It did.
It saw about as much as Despise did.
A little bit more, actually.
It actually did. I know. Yeah. I was waiting on that.
Really? That was the setup?
It was.
I alley-ooped on my own basket. Is that what just happened?
Hey man, I'm here to help you, buddy. I'm just in here. It's all good. But you know, and I would actually argue that Heliod's what was it called?
Dictate of Heliod.
Dictate of Heliod. Thank you. That card was a way bigger blowout than this card because that card came down at instant speed.
Flash,
You just that card was absurdly
and the
good
creatures have to be 3/3s to have a better effect.
Yeah, it was sweet. So
Mm-hmm.
this card, obviously, they know they're double striking, but they're still double striking, and that's all of your team. It's not just team or battle rage or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just one dude. Like, it's all the dudes, and that is extremely powerful. And again, you know, in Magical Christmas Land, when Standard can go 1 through 4 drop and then drop this and kill somebody, you know, what a wonderful
Except
world
that
it would
is
be.
100% Magic Christmas Land because the only 1 drop you play alongside 5 drops is Llanowar Elf or Elvish Mystic.
I mean, you know, like the problem is
You
like
can't play 1s and 5s together. It's just like mathematically incorrect.
Yeah, you're red. Like you just can't do the red decks with the 1 drops.
Sorcerer and Dragons, yeah.
Yeah, with the 5 mana guys, you just it just don't work. That makes me sad. That's okay. It's gonna be great and casual. It's gonna be fantastic and limited, and I'm okay with that.
Yep.
Now, is this an effect that is good enough to first pick? I want to say yes, but I'm just checking.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
This seems really, really powerful.
Yeah, I would definitely first pick it in my drafts. Like, to be fair, I like to first pick drafts in testing anyway before Pro Tours because I want to play with the rares. I'll get a better chance to play with all the uncommons and commons before the rares.
Yep.
So I want to play with them. So, like, I will first pick this no matter what the first time around, and I don't see it changing. Like, I think this is a build around me card. Very good, very aggressive. It fits in a lot of homes as long as you're red, and just lets you go 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop. Play this, and all of those cards are relevant.
All those cards basically almost got twice as good all of a sudden. Cards fantastic. Commune with Lava. Now, I have heard this called the Red Sphinx's Revelation.
Yeah. People really love to just call cards by
other cards that were amazing.
Old, unbelievably good cards. When I want, when you see a good card, what you want to call it is they're going to call some new card.
This card.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the blue Commune with Lava. This is the white Commune with Lava.
Yeah.
Not so much. And again, and I kind of talked about this in the Magic Show a little bit, where I was basically saying that, I love the fact that this is now Red's card advantage. This is Red's draw spells. There was Act on Impulse, there was Shadra Pyromaster, there was Outpost Siege, and now there's Commune with Lava. And this card looks amazing. This card looks really exciting. Like the end of your turn, exile 5 cards or whatever, and then my turn I get to draw a card, and then I get to play any of those that I want this turn. That's fantastic.
Yeah, but you only have 8 mana, and they have to be efficient. They have to be low to the ground if you want to cast a lot of them.
Absolutely. So that's the push and pull of it, right? And that's why this card isn't like, oh my god, busted. That's also why this card isn't mythic. Like if the card was that good, I feel it would have been pushed to mythic, just like Sphinx's Revelation. If this was the Red Sphinx's Revelation, it would be in the Sphinx's Revelation tier.
Yeah, and Sphinx's Revelation was a blue-white card that gained you life that worked well in a control shell because the other cards in your deck were base control. Red doesn't have that. Like you're a red-based deck, so are you going out of your way to play this over Dig Through Time?
Well, not so much that. You're basically, this to me is like the green-red devotion card, right? Like, you got Nykthos.
No, we already got that. It's called Crater's Claw, because we can just kill them.
Because you can just kill them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then
we
all of a
already
sudden,
have that one.
Well, then you're arguing against, like, the kill spell, right? You're arguing like, well, Crater's Claws, they can kill little creatures, big creatures, and you're like, well, this could potentially draw me a lot of cards, but it's almost like a win more at that point.
It is. I'm not a big fan.
It looks great, though. And it's going to play awesome in Limited. You're not going to be unhappy with this. It's even better in Sealed, obviously, because it's a slower format.
I even consider it bad in Limited.
No way.
You're going to, pay 7 mana to exile 7 cards, and because you wasted your entire turn, you're going to want to just cast the 1 7-drop that's exiled. I'd rather just play a 7-drop.
Well, maybe. I mean, it depends on what you're flipping up, right? I mean, you're never going to guarantee, if you have this for 7, then, well, you only get 5 cards, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Point is, I understand that point of I would just play the 7-drop and that's nice, but this also let you get to that 7-drop, so I can see both halves of that argument.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely take the side. I hate the one thing I hate about this set is all of our disputes are all limited based that we can't make a pie bet.
There's not any pie bets because we're just
it's all limited.
Not happening. Yeah. No, because
I will bet you that this does not win a Grand Prix, limited Grand Prix. No? Okay. All right.
Well, we don't even know if they're going to open it in the top 8 of the Grand Prix. That's the dumb. All right. Crater Elemental. This is a cool card. I appreciate the design of it. I think it's one of those cards that looks really sweet. It's great in Limited because it blocks and then it kills something, and that's always awesome. The formidable ability is really sweet. I think that's really awesome. It looks good. It reads good. It's a very exciting card, but ultimately it's a Limited All-Star, and I don't see it going anywhere beyond that.
Yep. I cannot say anything else about this card.
All right. Descent of the Dragons. 6 mana, buddy. Destroy any number of target creatures. Any of them. Fofo dragons.
Well, you have to add the 4/4 dragon. You have to say destroy any number of creatures. This card is broken.
Well, no.
Yeah, and just make them all dragons.
Well, no, I was getting the dragon part.
Yeah, I think this card is really cool. Limited bomb. You just play a bunch of things and turn them all into 4/4 dragons, and your opponent's like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah. This card is a
very
limited
much
super bomb.
And the limited bomb from the past was the card that I can think of is the one that made the Angels, the 4/4s.
You mean the Hour of Need?
Hour of Need, yeah.
That was blue, and that thing,
was
God,
really
that
good
card
limited.
was so sick. Oh yes, from the moment I saw it, I loved it. It was amazing, and this is very similar, except it's just 6 mana as many as you want, and at that point, this is the type of card where you just start to just play everything. Yeah. Just get everything out of my hand, and then they're all dragons.
Yeah, and what was it, Devour? I remember back then with those dragons, you had Dragon Fodder and they got devoured to all the dragons. I was like, I hope they do something with that when I saw Dragon Fodder spelled. And this is that card.
Oh yeah.
It actually turns your
goblins into dragons.
Yep.
Oh, so sick. I love the design of this card. There is a 2-mana enchantment we'll talk about soon that people are talking about comboing with that card. And I think that's really cool that they're both in the same set and they can kind of work together and whatnot, and we'll talk about it. But needless to say, easy first pick, amazing and sealed. If it's in constructed, it probably is going to have to be something weird like a combo shell.
It's definitely going to be a combo shell.
Yeah.
And I don't see it.
I don't either, but who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
Never know. Draconic Roar. It's so draconic. All right, so you were telling me that you like this card bunches and bunches?
Yeah, I think that this card is going to be good. You have to figure out the shell. The thing about this card is it has so much potential to just replace Lightning Strike in a lot of the red-based decks because you have the Dragon we'll be getting to. I forgot Reverent Break, Thunderbreak.
Thunderbreak Regent.
Yeah, I got very close.
Whew.
Yeah, Thunderbreak Regent.
Close.
Along with Stormbreath Dragon in like a Mardu or a red-white shell where you get to play this or Crackling Doom or even Searing Blood alongside Soulfire Grandmaster where this deals 6 and you get to gain that life back. But you're also killing a creature and dealing them 3. Like you can get some Fire Dancer shenanigans up in there and like deal 3, gain 9 life. But yeah, like Lightning Strike is always going to a creature in the early turns and sometimes hits them in the face in the late turns, but with how aggressive Standard is, it's usually killing creatures.
Right.
But I love how this card is going to get that 3 damage in the face. It's going to let Crackling Doom hit him in the face. It's going to let the Dragon deal 3 whenever it dies or 4 when it attacks, and Stormbreath's obviously going to get some damage in.
Right.
And all of that is just going to put your opponent into single digits without really breaking a sweat. Like you didn't really have to do a lot of work for it.
Yep.
And so I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be a standard playable card and change the way that we have to look at the red decks because they will have to play dragons and that'll slow them down a little bit.
Sure.
But
they have a lot of power.
I'm working on this deck. It's a little clunky, but that's how most decks usually are right away. And I mean, odds are when this goes up, it'll probably be around the time my article goes up too, and I'll have a deck list in there.
Sweet. All I know is I really appreciate the, Searing Blaze is a cool card. You had to work for it a little bit, but it was still sweet. And they kind of sort of pattern different burn spells, over the years now based on that. Like, we'll give you 3 damage to that and 3 damage to their face, but you're going to have to do something for it. You have to landfall, you're going to have dragon, you're going to do something. Like Searing Blood was very close, but it only dealt 2 and then 3, which is still great, obviously, but it's not 3 and 3, which is very important. So, so obviously, you pick it early. This is a removal spell at the very worst, and ideally it can be Searing Blaze for you. So it's always going to be good, and sometimes it's going to be great.
Yeah, this is if it was the other way around, which I know that they pushed it, like if it was deal 3 to a player and if you reveal the dragon deal,
we would be nowhere near talking about it like that.
Yeah, this is going to be a premium card. I know it's pushed, and it's probably the best of the reveal a dragon type effects in the format.
Nice. Well, I don't know how good that counter spell is though.
It's not as good as this.
Okay.
Red cards are better than blue cards.
All right, here's Dragon Fodder. Woo woo, back from Shards. How you doing?
I don't get why is this Dragon Fodder? I don't
even understand.
Yeah, you can barely even see the dragons.
Yeah, what is actually happening?
They're hidden because they're like
is
Yetis?
one dude with his arm this blade thing, and
and
the
this
other guy's
one's
like this,
disfigured, discombobulated in some way.
What is happening?
I don't know.
I don't get it. I guess. All right. I mean, I don't know. Ultimately, Dragon Fodder is a good card. It's a good card.
Why'd they make the goblins hairy on this set? I just don't get it.
To make them unique.
Sure.
I mean, what are they gonna do? I don't know. Make them hairy. All right, high five, lunch.
I mean, but didn't they already get it? Like when they turned the slivers into.
Oh God.
And we all just rioted. Everyone, we all joined forces.
Yeah, because it was a dumb idea, and they should have never done that. Stop making them predators and apes and stuff, you bunch of weirdos. Our slivers. We love our slivers. You can't sliver for 10 or whatever years and then just be like, oh no, they're actually just humanoids. Get out of here.
Plus, that was a bad movie. Why were you dubbing off the bad movie?
What, Predator?
Yeah, the new one. Alien vs. Predator.
The new one. Yeah.
Well,
dude. I'm only thinking about the Schwarzenegger one. Come on.
Never seen it.
And that's why he doesn't give out REO Speedwagon jokes. All right. Dragon Fodder is still a good dude. This is basically, if it were just 2-mana 2/2, we'd be talking about how good 2-mana 2/2s are. And this is 2-mana 2/2s split across 2 creatures, which with you have exploit and whatnot, it gets even better.
Yes. This is going to be a good in some exploit variations, either red-blue or red-black, when you're not just straight blue-black for the exploit decks.
Right.
And, I mean, it's always better than it looks in play. It always plays better than it looks in your deck.
Yep.
And we'll see that as the format goes on, this is one of the most uniquely synergistic cards in a set of all the time. It's always synergistic because getting 2 creatures for 2 mana is better than getting a 2/2 for 2 mana.
It's true. It's really good.
Double chump blocks.
You don't have to you're not going to have to pick it super early and all. We're just basically saying that it's a good limited card. You basically should play it if you got it. You're always going to like it, and with exploit, it gets way better.
I mean, it's not going to go late. We've already seen this format where a lot of 2 mana 2/2s are snatched up pretty fast, within the first 6 picks, and then you pick up your morphs and stuff. You take your early creature removal early, so that's what this card is going to be. It's going to go early.
Yep, but it's still very good. You should always play it.
Yeah.
Now, Dragon Tempest is the card that comes with, what is it, Day of the Dragons or whatever it was called? With the Mythic that we talked about a few minutes ago,
Yeah.
where you exile all these things, and then all of your dragons, like the first dragon hits them for 1, the second dragon comes in, hits them for 2, third for 3, and fourth for 4, and then you hit them and you kill
Well,
them.
not with that one card. They all
What?
see each other, right?
Do they all happen at the same time?
Yeah. It deals X damage to target creature player where X is the number of dragons you control. So if you made 4 dragons, you deal 16.
Right. What?
The card, you destroy X creatures and make 4 X dragons,
Yes.
they'll all see each other and play at the same time. It's like Velikut
Okay.
and Scape Shift.
Well, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, they don't come in one at a time. They don't come in all at once. That's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
destroy X creatures, put X dragons into play.
All right, that's sweet. I mean, that's one of those like weird, like stupid combos that just if you have enough ways to find it, or just hold off the fort, or put it together in some fashion.
That's what it's called. It's the Tempest.
Yeah.
The thing in the sky.
Oh, not the wheel.
It's not the wheel.
God, it's so good. All right, so now it's kind of neat, but if you don't have a dragon that you're playing, it's just kind of weird. Like this card doesn't. It seems like strangely playable and then unplayable based on your deck's contents, basically.
Yeah.
And it's a really terrible top deck. It's not a card that I'm really excited to play in limited because it's just too swingy.
No, this is just a casual card. People love dragons. They wanted to make they wanted to actually make the card that is based around why there's dragons on this world, no matter what. Anyway, It's like Eye of Ugin and
It needed to be here for flavor.
and Hell of All.
Right.
or
They need to be
Hell
able
of
to say,
yeah.
like, okay, because of this thing, they made a card about this thing, the world got changed, blah, blah, blah.
and they
We
had
get
to
it.
make the card for it.
And maybe it's a combo piece.
Sure.
Yeah, don't play in limited, though. And if it's in constructed, you'll know about it. Like, they won't shut up about it if this thing actually becomes a real thing.
If it's in constructed, it's probably just on an MTG Salvation form.
Ha, lols. Don't make fun of them. They make good decks. They have fun.
No, I mean that's where all the brews are.
Oh, the brews are sweet.
Yeah.
So, Dragon Whisperer is my favorite art of the set. I think it's just not close. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's dynamic. It's cool. Chris Rawlis, I think his name is. Amazing job, dude. I'm serious. This is amazing. This is as good as of an art on a piece of Magic card, piece of art on a Magic card, as I have seen. Because wow, it's beautiful. So, beyond the sweet artwork, I think this card is actually really good.
I think it is worse than I originally thought because I thought it was just the end all be all.
I didn't know about that. I just think it
Yeah.
was like good because in a world where Pelucranoses or whatever are just like mainstay, common, whatever, it's easy to get too formidable, and then you have infinite mana with Nykthos to start making dragons.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. I definitely feel like this card is going to be playable in red decks, but I don't know how good red decks are going to be. Like the article that came out this week, I even just said that red decks are terrible, and I just had a little meme, which is like, "What, you want to fight about it?" Like I'm not taking it, and they're just not well positioned right now. Like the problem with the red decks in this format is there are so many good cards, just so many. Like you could build 2 different red decks with how many good red cards there are.
Fair enough.
But they still just can't match up with like the Bile Blights, the Drowned Sorrows, the Pelucranoses, the Whisperwood Elementals, the Mantis Riders, all of the lifelinking white creatures that cost 2, Wild Slash, which they can play, but the Wild Slashes against them are way better than the Wild Slashes they get to play.
Sure, which is fair. I mean, I think there's a reason they let this card have an activated ability that gives it evasion.
Yep.
I think there's the reason they let this thing, Fire Breathe, because on an empty board, when you play a Dragon Whisperer, it's still good. Like, it still gives itself evasion and can smack upside the head, which is great. This is a card that like it pulls in 2 weird directions,
Yeah.
Because like in the mono red decks, the mono red aggro decks, like it's fine, it's okay, because you're giving it evasion, blah blah blah. And then like in the green red monsters / Nykthos decks, you're sort of aiming for, I want all this mana, I want all this devotion, so I can start making all these dragons, and that's cool. But the other half of that equation, now that I say it out loud, feels a little win more.
Yeah. It does feel like a win more, but the one thing that I do think that this card's going to be good in is when the boards stall up for a red deck and they don't really have a way to win the game. The thing that I love about this card is you can actually just attack with your Rebel Master, get the trigger for the Goblin, and during combat make your Dragon.
Sure.
And then you lose the Rebel Master, but you get the 4/4 Dragon for the sky.
Right.
And you can still attack with this if you have 7 mana. Usually you're not going to because you're just going to limp into 6
Right.
to get the guy in the first place. But a Rabble Master plus a token plus this card alone is 6 power when it's attacking. So then you just need 1 more creature in play, and you have a dragon. So like that ability feels like the the ability that a red deck needed, because so my plan against red decks always is never attack, always block. I will eventually just get so far ahead that there's no way they could ever win because they don't have enough burn to burn me out.
Right.
And so I just sit there, find my coursers, just keep drawing cards, never attack them until I one-hit them. Well, this card kind of stops that. Like, if that happens, you can just keep building your board, but they still don't want to get too aggressive because, like, Hill Cutters can take you out and things like that.
Sure.
So I think that this is an all-around great card for the red decks. It's definitely a significant upgrade to Eidolon, where they played that a lot as their 2-drop.
Because it doesn't hurt you. Like,
yeah.
Eidolon would sometimes just like put you in bad positions as the red deck.
In GP Miami, I actually got my opponent like attacked me with a bunch of guys for some reason. There was a reason he should have, but I just put all my guys in front of a Fire Drinker Satyr, and he just like, oh, I didn't think about that, and I went to like 6, and then he was at 2, and he had an
Nice.
He just didn't think about me putting like
All of the
4
guys.
creatures in front of the Fire Drinker Satyr and taking a ton of damage.
Wow.
And he's just like, oh. And I'm
I
like,
can't-
yeah, you're at 2 life now.
Can't play any more spells, brah.
Yeah.
That's what happens. Like, I am not going to be surprised at all if a mono red deck starts playing 4 of these. And I also wouldn't be really surprised if the green red monsters deck, if it exists, plays this guy too. But maybe plays this guy in the sideboard. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't think so, because like it's such a mana requirement. Like the green decks want green mana,
Not red.
Yeah, and so like this card is going to be in a based red deck, maybe Splashing Chain if that's still a thing that you want to do. And for the most part, it is just an easy inclusion. Like if you're a red player out there, and if you don't have a bias like I do towards not red or Sphinx's Rev, I'm a mid-range guy at heart.
I love this card. I want to smash in the red zone. I
pick
want to
up-
give
no,
this guy.
To be fair, I technically own 4 of these already.
Oh, now we technically own things. Okay, fine.
Well, because I purchased them. You know,
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the enrichment.
Your brags are so humble, buddy.
How is that Briggs?
I don't know. I already got 4 of them. This guy's really sweet. Well, I've already got 4 of them.
I never own cards. I'm saying that this is a very good card that you should pick up now before it
You
goes
always
crazy up.
say that. I never pre-order cards. I never own cards.
I
You
finally
pre-order all the
pre-ordered this time. No, I just pre-ordered for this time for the first time. I bought like a
Don't
bunch
give
of
me
cards.
for the first time.
Well, I pre-ordered 4 Jaces too.
Yeah, and you pre-ordered 4 Tamiyos too.
That was a mistake.
You did it. Dragon Lord's Servant. I love this type of card. I think it's really cool. They've printed plenty of these in the past. In Morningtide, there was a whole cycle. Like, this is another one of those cards I kind of went back in the history, and I was just like, how many types of these cards have there been? There's all the familiars from Invasion. There's all the ones that are based on creature types from Lorwyn and from Morningtide, which was really cool. And these cards are always sweet, and they're always generally pretty good in their own way. And not super powerful, but always generally
I
playable.
mean, they're not supposed to be, because they're supposed to enable powerful things.
Correct. You wouldn't want this card to be powerful and the things it enables to be powerful, which is why it's a 1/3 for 2 instead of like anything else,
I
basically.
mean, you have to look at this as red mana acceleration, and that just doesn't exist, and that's what this is.
Yep, it's very rare. And again, they have made those in the past or whatever, but again, rare stuff. And as a result, this guy is good. And obviously, in limited, I think you're going to be able to draft more dragons and get more dragons in and be able to really take advantage of this guy more so. Sealed, not as much, because you're kind of at the whim of whatever dragons you got.
Yeah, if it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not.
Exactly. So, it's kind of going to be really obvious whether or not this is the stuff. I love the artwork, though.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern, though, is that it just doesn't feel like that's enough food for Atarka. Like, I feel like the
No.
goblin is going to get eaten.
Oh, yeah, he's going to be part of the meal.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Not even the dessert.
No.
The actual appetizer.
Yeah, they're just a little crunchy. They're hairy. You gotta pick it out. Yeah, it's great. Neat card, though. Hardened Berserker. 3 mana, 3/2. All right. This is another one of those, like, red kind of gets mana discounts for a weird reason, but because it's a 3/2, it's probably going to die.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fine card. Like, I've played with a lot of, like, the 4/2s, like the Alpine Grizzlies, and the whatever the elephant is, the Mastodon. It's like a 3/2, and it can get a +1/+1 counter. Regardless, this card is a 3/2 that comes down on turn 3 and gives you an advantage to attack and trade, because then you can just put a 5-drop into play on turn 4, and that's
Right.
it's pretty good. Or just wait a turn and attack, and then you get to play 6-drop.
Right.
So I'm a big fan of this card, because it is just mana acceleration for turn, and because it has 3 power, it's going to trade. And trading in Magic isn't bad if you've got some type of advantage, and if it's a huge tempo swing advantage.
Or if it gives you a big boost, right? Which is that's what this does.
And it gives you a huge tempo advantage, but not at a cost. Where tempo is usually the thing in Magic that comes at a sacrifice. Like you have to sacrifice something for tempo, where you don't in this situation. You just get to trade.
Right. So either they're going to block it and kill it, which I think they will most of the time, at least they should, because if they don't,
you get to do it again next turn.
Yeah, they're going to be like, oh God, I should have killed that guy, because next turn you get to do it, and then you get your 6-drop for 5 mana, and yada yada. So yeah, I mean, just speaking about this guy, I kind of like him more and more as we sort of talk about him.
Yeah, I think he's fine.
Yep, not a super early pick, but still a fine card in your red decks, and should power out those dragons.
Yeah, or it can help you do weird things with dash, like if you have to overcost half a dash to attack with something, then you get to play a real spell again because the next one is cheaper.
Right. Neat. Impact Tremors. Okay, that's an enchantment. Is this one of those like enchantments that are like it's bad unless you have 3 or 4 of them, and then it becomes like actually possibly a thing?
I mean, yes, but no, because they work well together, kind of.
I mean, yeah, I mean, like, obviously Christmas Land scenarios include something like getting 2 or 3 of these and then playing Dragon Fodder.
No. Christmas Land scenario is your opponent getting 2 or 3 of these and casting them against you.
Well,
that's the Christmas Land scenario.
Doesn't that tell you something?
Yep.
That tells you something. Card is bad. Ire Shaman, not bad. So good, it's rare. Card is sweet.
I was hoping that this was going to be our pie bet.
No way. His card is awesome.
This card's really good.
The art is fantastic.
The art's fantastic. It's like a great Valentine's gift.
Is that a heart?
Yeah, it's a heart.
That's a heart. Yeah. That's adorable. I just noticed that. That's brilliant.
And this card's going to see standard play. It's wonderful.
God, it's so good.
It's 1 red to morph up. You just play on turn 3, turn 4, flip
and
it up.
Card advantage.
Yeah.
Like, seriously? Card is nuts. They pushed this card big time. They wanted red to have a really, really sweet unmorph, megamorph guy.
Yeah.
And this is it.
Yeah, the
card is sweet. First pick, love it. Great in the aggro decks. There's nothing wrong with this card ever.
Yeah, I mean, the ability of having to get blocked by 2 creatures, like we've talked about, is like really complex in this format, and it's difficult to have to jump through hoops to actually get 2 creatures to block a creature. So like this guy even coming out on turn 2 is going to deal like 6 damage in limited, which is unbelievable.
Yep. Like, don't feel bad if sometimes you're just like, well, based on my hand and the curve I've gotten, whatever, I just want to miss out on turn 2. That's okay, because
options are good.
Yeah, your warrior deck probably, should have a curve on it, and if this guy's on your 2, that's okay. You don't have to get the value when you have no other 2-drops. Like just run them out there and go. Card's sweet.
Get the damage in.
Kindled Fury. Man, where did this card come from? I can't remember exactly where.
I don't know.
I didn't look it up, but I remember seeing it.
I thought you were the historian this weekend.
Well, not necessarily. I actually don't have any more notes.
Oh, no.
Well, I mean, what I did was, I kind of went through the set, and whenever I saw something I thought was like interesting or had like some historical perspective, I kind of went deep on those things. And the rest, like if it was just a reprint, sometime I go like, oh, sweet, Death's Wind was in Amazon Restored, or Deathwind was. That's cool. What we're sort of kind of getting around is like this is a very minor combat trick. From what I recall playing it the first time, it more or less snuck up on everybody.
Yeah, the first time we saw it, we're like, and then they were great.
And then they just people just ran smack into it over and over and over again. And this is the type of card that very few players generally play around, and all players generally run into. And then they go, what? Oh, God. It's like, it's not quite a removal spell, but it is way better than I think it looks just by itself.
And it's great because these are the type of tricks, like, you see in the other colors, they're expensive, but in black and red, you want them to be cheap because of all the dash.
Right.
And so this set finally gets all these cheap, interactive ways to do combat with dashing, so you can tap down low, still have a combat trick up, attack. Right. And this is like the perfect one because if you're dashing and attacking your opponent, it's probably because they don't have huge creatures blocking you.
Right, and if you have something like those creatures, like Ire Shaman or some others that give the ability that they have to be blocked by 2 creatures, and then all of a sudden you give your guy +1/+0 on first strike, like you can just completely wreck their face and or 2-for-1 them at best, because you just, I just completely wiped your 2 guys because you weren't playing around this. Card's good.
Card's very good.
Right, and by that, we're kind of touting as like, oh my God, first pick amazing combat trick, and that's not what we're trying to say. We're basically just saying it's very playable and it is very good.
Yeah, you want multiple copies in a deck with 16 creatures and a lot of dash, a lot of aggression.
Yep, this is an aggressive card for an aggressive deck. Now, Kolaghan Aspirant, as you do, is Ashmouth. What's it called?
Ashmouth Hound.
Ashmouth Hound, yes, from Innistrad. And that's cool.
That card was great.
The card was great.
Yeah.
And and this card is just as good. It's just literally just a rename. Like it did exactly what that card did when that card was awesome. and you've always played it. Like in your red decks, you want a 2-drop that can trade with a 3 toughness guy. A lot of times you'll, if and what I would get into is either I would have a 3 toughness guy or they would have a 3 toughness guy, and they just don't want to trade for your 2-drop. They put in more resources, 3 mana or more, into their 3 toughness guy than you did in your 2 mana 2/1, and it just gets in there. It just does work. Like this is a card that's it's a warrior, works all the warrior stuff, and ultimately it's just a good creature on its own, regardless of the other synergies.
All right, trivia time.
Okay.
What's the only 1-drop that doesn't die to its ability in this format? Oh no, there's 2.
Oh God.
There are 2.
In this format, there's something like
There's 2 in this set.
Something like protection from red or something.
No, there's 2 in this set. I forgot the 1/3 defender, first strike,
Oh God, that white.
and then the 1/2 the sphere, the one that lets you see all the face down cards.
Oh God.
Yeah, those are the 2. But they're good against Ashmouth Hound.
Oh great.
I mean, I'm just giving Sage sideboard advice.
Yeah, you
Let me
are.
do my thing.
Let me do my job, man. This is what I do. Card is fine. Not you don't have to pick it super early, but you're always going to enjoy having it in your deck. This is like 5th to 8th pick usually,
Yep.
And it's always in there and it's always good. Kolaghan Forerunners. Okay, here's a card that really takes some evaluation. It really depends on the board state.
Real quick,
Give me
I
something.
just have to say it just so you guys don't have to go to the YouTube comments right now.
Okay.
There is 3. Bell Ringer,
Oh God.
Barrel Striker. Just had to get it out. Just had to get it out there. There are 3 creatures that can block it. I mean,
Striker? You talking about this is like the new
Zergo, yeah.
Zergo? He's a 2/2.
Yeah, but I'm saying 1-drops that can block it and not die.
Oh, like
Not die
immediately.
to the ability.
Oh,
yeah.
I see. I understand.
I had to get that out there.
When you say 1-drops that can block it and not die, I think after it both deals the damage
there
and
is one.
hits. Well, okay. Look like that 04.
The 1/3.
Well, there's that 04 in blue that has exploit.
Oh
It
no!
counts a
All
creature.
right. We have to just
You
move
see?
on.
You see what he's trying to do?
derailed.
Yeah.
I derailed.
Thanks a lot, dude. Great.
Ah.
Kolaghan Forerunners. How in the world? Help me evaluate this card. What is going on with this card, and is it any good?
So 1/3. All right. So what it is it's a 3 mana.
3 mana 1/3.
X3 1/3
At
space,
least.
yeah.
Okay.
And it has trample.
That's
so
nice.
if the creature blocks with a 0 toughness creature, you deal 1 trample.
Okay.
So you know.
Thank you.
Yep. And it seems really good. Like it's a dash, so like if you have a bunch of guys in play, it's this like fireball of trample that comes through.
Sure.
So like it's hard to play around because it just comes into play, has trample, has a lot of power if you have a bunch of creatures in play, a bunch of dragon fodder, and I mean it's a great 3-drop. Like you play it as a 1/3 if you don't have a 2-drop, and then you play a guy and attack him with a 2/3. They're probably not going to be able to block it. Next turn it's like a 3/3 or even potentially bigger.
I dig
So,
it. I like it.
I think that this card is a premium creature in the black-red aggro decks.
Yeah, I think there's a reason this guy's a Berserker. I think that might have been a warrior at one point in time, and it was like just way
Well,
too
the
good.
warrior theme isn't like that deep in this, but there's just enough to keep it alive.
There's enough to make it where like a few too many creatures that have
Yeah.
way too many good abilities, yada yada yada. Also, the art's sweet.
The art is really
The art, like the guy holding up the thing.
Yep.
Sweet. Touchdown.
Yeah, I mean he's only as good as his army though. So
I know, right behind him. Yeah, pretty cool. Kolaghan Storm Singer, singing them storms.
Yeah.
Okay.
right. Raging Goblin is so bad now though. There's
Raging
just
Goblin
been
is
so
bad.
many upgrades to him.
Oh yeah, obviously you want like if you're megamorphing this for just a red, then it's a 2/2.
But you gave something haste, like
So for 1 extra red mana, you can give your cool thing haste, and that's nice.
You can play this in certain situations or board it in to just like have extra morphs that disguise a different good morph that you don't want them to kill right away.
Wow. I'm playing this bad morph, so you don't remember my good morph, or you don't get it right.
Well, sometimes you did that. Like sometimes I only had like a Saga Mauler and like another really good morph, and I was like a 4-color deck. I wasn't like Teamer because Teamer has a million morphs.
Right.
And I was just like, all right, well I guess I'm playing this like 5/3 and 1/5 because I have to disguise my Saga Mauler.
I don't know, man. It feels like once you're at that point, like,
You do it.
all right.
You do what you gotta do.
I
You do what you
guess.
gotta do to go 1/1 in those 8/4s. I'll tell you what.
Don't. This card seems bad.
This card's really bad.
It's not good. This card is great. Lightning Berserker is sweet. This card, I mean, I was like, holy crap. A 1/1 with fire breathing, they've literally never done that.
All right,
and then it has dash on top of it.
I just want to do one thing real quick, just
here
for
we go.
example. This is where I know when cards are going to that they thought that the cards are going to be pretty good or
Okay.
potentially standard playable. Here's a 1-drop, and look at the art. It's fine.
Okay.
Now look at this art. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It jumps out at you.
Ugh.
Like it's exciting.
Sweet.
Yeah, and
Card's
yeah,
sweet.
I think this is good. It's potentially in the red decks in standard. It could be sideboard cards because like there's nothing that could feel better than just like dumping all your mana into this like creature after they like, you know, drown and sorrow you or something, and just being
Yeah.
able to like, I already have enough creatures in play, and I don't really care if I have to dash this again next turn because it's so efficient.
Right.
Like just play it, get in for like 3 damage, put it back in my hand.
Yeah, and that's really cool. And that's sort of, I mean, you know, like you don't want them to be like in hostilities and you're like, all right, sweet, Lightning Berserker for a bunch, you know, go. And then they're like, Elspeth make 3 tokens, and you're like, oh, my Lightning Berserker can't really dash through your duders anymore.
Well, I mean, that'll happen.
Well,
that's how the red decks lose. That's why the red decks sometimes lose. It's like Elspeth make 3 guys, and they're like, what is this magic?
Why?
Like,
Why
what
are you
is
doing this to me in my
Like,
life?
I've never seen this before. This hasn't been a thing for over a year. Like, I don't know how to handle this.
I mean, it's like, I have to scoop. Oh,
Yeah.
God, I must scoop right now and think really hard about my life.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's rough. So anything that isn't
Have you ever
resolving
read a red?
Elspeth-
Have you ever read a red mage that is just not awesome though? Like,
Yeah.
they're all awesome. They're like, if they die to Drown and Sorrow and Elspeth, they're like, yep, that's how I lose magic. They don't get mad. They're like, next game I'm on the play.
They understand it, dude. They know. Ahead of the curve. I won that coin flip. Let's do this.
Yep.
God. All right. Card is good. I really love it. I think they pushed it. Like, it would have been fine with just the fire breathing, but once you add the dash, you're like, okay, you guys wanted this to be really good.
Yep.
I like it. Lose Calm. Now, I did do some research on this one. This is a unique effect. They've never given the block. You know, it can't be blocked except by two or more creatures to a threaten effect. There's been threaten effects that like make you sacrifice the dude at the end or whatever, and there's obviously lots of threaten effects where they have. There was the one for that you could. Oh God, the harness power, whatever that one was.
Harness
the 3
by
mana
force.
harness by force, where you could like pay more and do it again or whatever. And that was cool. But again, this is a very unique effect. I appreciate the fact that this is different than all the ones we've seen over all the years, blah, 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 which is really cool. And ultimately, threaten effects are good, and the fact that you can threaten something and almost guarantee it's not going to be blocked is generally even better.
Oh yeah, and just getting some big chunks of damage, and that's what the red decks really rely on. We saw it at the end of the last GP, like Active Treason winning the whole thing.
Yeah.
But like this is just one of my long-winded things that kind of derails the conversation.
Here we go.
Yep.
Here we go.
The first time I saw this card, all I could think about was like, this just feels like that moment. Like I'm a big zombie flick guy. Like I love zombies. I read a lot of zombie books, watch a lot of zombie movies, obviously watch Walking Dead. And it's that moment when like the dad turns and the kid can't kill the dad, right? Because it needs to be double blocked. So like the mom has to step in and do it. Like they've ran that scene so many times,
Of course
right?
they have.
Yeah. It's just like that moment where like, without 2 creatures to like stop your companion, like
Right.
it's just gonna run over the one.
Yeah, I mean, this to me is a spell that's going to take a dragon or a big flyer or whatever, because they may have another flyer, and that's great, but they're not going to be able to block it with 2 guys, and you're going to get in for a whole bunch of damage.
See, that's what I wish that the art was. I wish the art was like very obvious 2 armies.
Right.
And like the dragon from the one army and the dragon from the other, but the dragon from the one army is just like turning around and breathing fire on their own army. Like
Nice.
That would have been so sweet.
You should be an art director, sir.
They would hate me.
Yeah, they would.
I'd be like, all right, so I want 1,100 people on this one piece of art, 2 huge dragons, a sunset,
Right.
a couple clouds.
A sunset. And somewhere, you know, like a tree. Just
Yeah.
give me one tree.
I need a tree.
Just one tree. Lose Calm is cool. Not a high pick, but it is very playable.
Yeah.
Magmatic Chasm. Now, this is Falter, basically. Was Falter 3 mana?
No, this is just straight Falter.
Was Falter red Nicholas?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just straight up Falter.
Really, what's wrong with Falter? What's
What?
wrong with the word Falter? What's wrong with the spell Falter?
Because this planet has magmatic chasms, duh. Or chasms.
Look, guy. Chasm, you chasm. I don't know, man. All I'm saying is, like, this is, like, Falter is a wonderful one-word name spell. It's great. It's flavorful. It has history behind it. There was no need to rename it other than, like, I've got maybe this piece of art and I can't call it Falter because it looks like I'm splitting the volcanic seas or whatever.
Yeah, why not? Give me a reason why we don't just make a new card.
Because it's cool to be able to play with your old ones or something? I don't know.
Nah, they have to buy more cards. That's
I
just
don't
marketing 101.
Oh, good lord. They can still make new art for it. Now, Colossal Behemoth is a sweet card because, and someone like pointed this out immediately. I was like, oh, that's a neat design.
Yeah,
Someone was just like,
unique card.
yeah, they were just like tiny leaders, and I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
Oh.
Isn't that neat? Tiny leaders
Maybe
can play this.
Is this maybe one of their first hits in the format, or that came out before this?
Yeah,
was
it's
finished,
a total
right?
happy
Yeah.
accident. This is one of those cards that they're trying to undercost it, but make you sort of pay a toll to do anything with. It looks really good because there's a high power and toughness for a low investment. When you're not doing a lot of stuff or you sort of ran out of gas, you're fine paying 2 mana to smash with your 5/5, and that's fine. And your opponent doesn't want to attack in when you have 2 mana open.
But oddly enough, this is like an actual 5-drop, which is fine at 5 mana. Playing this and having 2 mana open, it's a great for that turn.
Sure.
Because it's a 5/5 for 5.
Right.
But then every turn after that, then if you have a land drop, you only have 4 mana available if you want to interact with this card, and then less, and then less.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those kind of skill testers because when you run it out on turn 3, well, if you want to do anything with it on turn 4, you have to split your mana in half.
But it does help formidable cards.
It helps Formidable about a lot, which is sweet. But I don't know if it's good enough to play this just to get those cards active.
I mean, I think this card is going to play way better than we see because it depends on what your curve is at. Like if you're really low to the ground deck, like this card seems fine.
Right.
And mapping out your turns, you can get there.
Right. I mean, this is the type of card that I've seen burn on sort of both halves. You know what I mean? You think it's really good and it's unplayable. You think it's unplayable and it actually turns out to be really sweet. You know, like regardless of which side of the fence we fell on, I feel like, you know, we would run up to each other in the pre-release and say, like, this card did
this is the
blank.
one. Yeah.
You know, this card was amazing. This card was total crap. I can't believe we liked it. You know, that type of thing.
I cast on turn 3 and got stuck on 3 and died.
Lols.
He attacked me with his big creatures. I mean, this is the card at the pre-release where you play it and your opponent just doesn't attack you, and you're like, why the hell didn't he attack me? And you're like, oh, he doesn't know what my card does.
Nice. Nice.
I'm that guy. I mean, the set reviews actually have helped me become a better pre-release player.
Oh, yeah?
Because I'm forced to just 100% have talked
about
every
everything.
card. Talked, not just looked at. Like, talked about every card.
Spoken and thought about and tried to put together.
Yeah, we don't read much at the pre-releases.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
No, we don't.
We don't read much before these either.
Okay.
I'm just going back to Simic. Just bringing it all the way
So
back.
don't go back to Simic. Don't do that to me.
I will bring it back every time.
I'm moving on.
All right.
All right. Rending Volley. Was this not a metagame scalpel for Modern?
I mean, we already had Combust.
Yeah, but now it's 1 mana.
Yay.
I mean, like I feel like they want Splinter Twin to still exist, but they want to make as good a hate card as possible against it.
I mean, I feel like this is just like the last ditch for this card because like let's figure out what's the best hate card that Red could have in this format if it wants to attack blue and white without it just being the Cryoclasm or some LD that they don't want to happen.
LD is
like
gross.
the only LD you get is against each other. Like they're like, we'll make black LD for black decks and red LD for red decks, but we're not gonna mess with the other colors. That's when things get mad. And this card, like once you take away the LD, what can this card really do unless it's just going to look the same as like other cards, like if it's just going to be a Searing Blaze for blue and red cards.
Right.
Like there's not a lot of design space in this specific slot if they're going to do a hate cycle. So yeah, it's like can't be countered, and they could have prevented the not being able to prevent damage. And
Right. I mean, they could have kept going a little bit, but I mean, ultimately, as best I can understand it, they didn't really catch Deceiver Exarch, Splinter Twin, and Standard, and so now they're kind of continuing to deal with this in Modern. And like it's one of those. I feel like they don't want to ban it.
they should.
I wish they would personally, but
Should,
I feel like they keep
ban
trying.
Splinter Twin or Modern.
You're funny.
Oh.
Splinter Twin.
Okay.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a really annoying deck. It's really just like, oops, I just won, and there's nothing you can do about it. And oh, you used a discard spell, so I have nothing, so you won. Like, I don't know. I just don't find that gameplay very interesting. And I think, like, yeah, there's like a dance that you do to try to get your Splinter Twin to happen, and blah blah blah. But like, print stuff like this so they'll stop playing that stupid deck.
I mean, I'll always be playing that stupid deck.
He would.
It's the only deck I can win with in that format.
Oh God, just ban it already, Wizards. Let it go. All right, so sideboard material unlimited.
No.
No?
No.
Come on.
In Standard?
In limited.
Oh, in Limited?
Yeah.
Maybe, I guess,
I
sure.
used the L word.
Yeah, I didn't hear that. I heard
know,
Sideboard.
I only said it clearly.
I heard Sideboard and assumed it was Standard.
Right. No, not in Standard.
Sorry,
I
bro.
don't. It's okay. Moving on. Roast. Rawr. a great. Now, see, this is a real
I get
good.
it now. It's a dragon roasting the creature on the ground and flying away.
Yes.
See, I never really looked at the art. I just knew what it did.
Well, I mean, I looked at the art and didn't really notice the dragon until now. I just saw that guy going.
That same here, yeah.
Right. Super awesome removal spell. This is a first pickable card. This is something you always play in your decks, always unlimited, if you're playing red, and will very, very, very likely to see constructed play. This is one of the best red removal spells they've really ever printed.
Yeah, I wonder if it was intentional to have its deal X damage amount be exactly Rhino's toughness.
It's weird like that.
Yeah, and Pelucranos, like the two cards that have been destroying red decks for a year now.
Yep.
Like I remember I played a mono red deck in Portland. This was a pro tour like forever ago. And people were like, how do you deal with Pelucranos? I'm like, I can't. I just hope I don't play against it. And they're like, well, how can you play a deck that doesn't beat that? I'm like, it's good against everything else, I guess. But yeah, I'm never beating a Pelucranos. If I had that card, then man, oh man, that deck would have been good.
It's so sweet. It's like, we talked a little bit about this where, they print really good cards to hate on, certain amazing cards, and then they keep going. Valorous Stance was amazing, and I loved every bit of that card and what it did. And it was sort of the white answer, the red-white answer. Now this is the mono-red answer, which not only answers Pelucranos and Siege Rhino, other big toughness things or whatever that get in your way, Coursers, for example, that were another huge pain in the butt for the red deck.
But this was the big one, right? Like
this was certainly the big one.
Valorous Stance was great, but like Valorous Stance along with Chain of the Rocks were just cards that red was forced to latch onto to kill with these creatures. Like they gave it both to white, and so white had a bunch of removal for Rhinos and Coursers and Pelucranos. But now red finally has an answer that isn't embarrassing like Fated Conflagration.
Right. God, that card was bad.
I mean, yeah, but that's like the best answer. Literally the best answer you have to kill a Rhino or a Courser. Like, well, not you could stoke it, I guess. But like now there's finally an answer. So this is finally the first card that is going to breathe because it's roasted.
Is it going to roast new life?
Yeah, it's going to roast new life into mono red. Mono red's going to be able to break the chains from the white.
Oh, God. You're just reaching so deep in that well, sir.
Yeah, break the chains from its demand on playing white all the time. And now it's finally going to be able to like be on its own color. The red decks are going to look a lot better. They're going to be able to slow the games down a little bit.
They're going to be able to leave the temple and get the triumph.
They're going to be...
What, dude? I can't help it. All right.
They finally be able to seek the way.
Nice. The card is really awesome. Super great. Main deckable and standard. Deals with all the problems that the red deck didn't want to deal with. Like, I love it.
Yeah, Battlefield Forge.
God.
Had to get them all.
All right. Sabertooth Outrider. 4 mana, 4/2 tramples. Okay. You got a
First strike.
It's halfway to Formidable. You get to Formidable, it's a 4/2 first strike for 4.
First strike is good.
First strike is very good. First strike with trample is very, very
and I'm
good.
pretty sure if you played a creature before this and played this on turn 4, that on turn 5 it will be formidable.
Absolutely. And it should be.
And this is a good card, and I don't see any reason why I won't want to draft a lot of these because they work well together, obviously.
Oh, God. Playing this one and then playing another one, good times.
Yeah, this card's really good.
Yep. And it really only blows you out if they have a removal spell to turn off Formidable. But even then, it's a 4/2. Yeah, you're still going to trade with something.
It's just a 2 for 2.
Yeah.
Like, your worst with this card is the 2 for 2, unless you have 2 of them and you block an 8/8. And then they kill one. That's your blowout. But, like, at worst, when you're attacking with this card, it's going to be a 2/2 unless they have a pump spell or some kind of trick. But, yeah, this card's great.
Sweet. I like it. Again, this is one of those that doesn't bowl you over, but it's still a fine man. He
doesn't block well. That's the worst thing.
Yeah.
Early game. If your opponent gets under you, if you don't have an early enough curve, this could be like the formidable green-red deck that's just a little too slow to the draw.
Yeah. And or you finally play it and they answer it or whatever, or you play it and it's just too late to do anything. It doesn't really matter. And that's sort of the worst case scenarios for these cards, but it has a lot of potential.
Yep.
I like this card a lot. Sarkhan's Rage. I like the flavor of this card. Now, this is a removal spell. It's easily splashed. You always play it limited. You pick it early because it's great. And I just love the flavor that if you don't control dragons, it hurts you. So it's what you get.
I mean, it feels weird. It feels weird that I can't, reveal a dragon to this card. Like, if you don't control a dragon or reveal a dragon, I think it would be too much, text, maybe?
Maybe?
Because this already has a lot of text, but probably not. I just feel like every card in this set that has that bonus, they should put it on the one downside card.
Well, maybe, but the other half is this one goes to the head and or creature, which I think is important. Like the fact that this is both.
Oh, it can go to the.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it can go to the dome or creature. That's
I just
amazing.
assumed it was creature.
I know, right? Me too. And then I was like,
I saw 5 and
wait
then
a
just went
minute.
to 2. Yeah.
Right, but-
Dyslexia.
Well, I mean, but instant speed into their turn, deal them 5 to the face, like that can just
Yeah.
end game. So not only is it a great removal spell, it's a great game ender.
Yeah, no, this card's good.
This card is very good. Take it
is-
early.
Yeah, this is a bomb.
Yeah, this card is fantastic.
And
Enjoy.
it's sweet art.
It is sweet. Speaking of sweet cards, oh man,
You mean sweet art?
sweet art and a sweet card. Chris.
Chris?
That's my best friend.
Who are you thinking about, sir?
My best friend who I rant to all the time. Brad, this card is very good.
Okay.
Okay. In limited, it becomes the. Whoa. What are we talking about here?
Any play until the next set? Top 8? That's what we always talk about?
Top 8 in GP or Open Series from now until the release.
Non-limited.
Non-limited. From now until Magic Origins. All right, I'm in. I'm
Oh,
in.
wow,
I'm
wow.
in.
That
Sarkhan's
was
Triumph.
the easiest
I am
one I've ever
in.
gotten.
No, it is not.
Easiest one I've ever gotten.
I'm writing it down. Sarkhan's Triumph. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. The technology is here to write down what the hell we're taking pie bets on.
We will lose this piece of paper and forget about this.
It's
There is
okay.
just no doubt. in
Then
my
there will be
mind.
another Reddit thread where we beg you guys to tell us what we're talking about. Either way, I like this card. I like the fact that it's in limited it's great because it's the second copy of whatever your best dragon is.
Yep.
End of their turn, you get to go find it. Sarkhan's Triumph and again, it is the word instant. If this did not have the word instant, I wouldn't go anywhere near that pie bet. I mean,
Yeah.
nowhere. But as an instant, it's got a lot of possibilities.
Yeah, but it just adds 3. Like, how many different dragons are you going to want to play? Like,
Why not?
Just gonna play a bunch of dragons?
Well, look, you have Icefall Regent that can tap down a dude. You got Atarka that can just like end things.
Wow. Oh, wow, he sensed the sarcasm.
Oh, did I? Did I now?
I thought it was...
No,
so
no,
hidden,
you
so
were
subtle.
not. Oh,
I thought
for
it was
God's
so
sake.
subtle there.
Yeah, subtle's a heart attack, buddy. All right. So you tell me why this card is not worth playing.
Because it just adds 3 mana to a dragon. Your tutor is for a gigantic thing that you now have to pay 3 more mana to do. It's like you're adding morph to a dragon.
Yeah, but at the end of their turn.
Yeah.
Like, if this were a sorcery, all of your arguments right there made total sense.
No, because at the end of their turn, it's not like I'm going to cast this when the coast is clear. Like the coast is never clear in Standard. Like you're just both snowballing like Whisperwoods into more stuff, and like they're gonna play dragons against you or attack you, and then you're gonna spend half of your turn to cast this, and then tap out for your dragon that they just kill. Like it's rough out there, man. Like
Hard out there for a pimp, bro.
Yeah, like I don't think you've been out there, but like you don't have time for this.
Dude, you ain't out on the streets. You don't know how it is. People slaughtering Belugradosis and stuff. It's terrible.
Main deck wild slashes that are actually good.
Oh, God. They're playing
so
shock.
aggressive.
Shocks, man.
Shocks.
All I'm saying.
It even has an ability that has never been relevant once. I forgot what it does.
Shock. All right. Okay. Seriously. I can't wait to win this one. I can't wait. Guys, help me pie him.
What? No. I made that joke, but like it can't just be like a one of in sideboards for no reason. Like if a red-white deck with no dragons, no. We have to make a rule.
No. Oh, no. We didn't
What?
handshake to. There's rules about one-ups and sideboards. Oh, no. You said top 8. This is your words. This is you. You ran out the. You ran out
but
the
that's
hand
not saying
so
that your
fast.
card is
You
good.
saw how fast it was.
But
You were
you're
just
you're
like,
breaking
just give it here.
you're breaking the rules of the.
I ain't breaking the rules of nothing. I just said it's going to see top 8 play at some point. Now look, if the person who's out there plays one on their sideboard, they never get anywhere.
In their Obzon deck.
Then what's the problem?
But
What's
if
the harm?
they top 8 with a 74 card Obzon deck,
right,
and
you will get to sign that card for the rest of your life. That's what
that
would
sounds
happen.
terrible.
No, it doesn't.
No, give me my goats.
You know how many Spectral Possessions I've signed in my life? You have no idea. Okay, Scream Reach Brawl. He has a Scream Reach. That is awesome.
And he is a very good card.
He is very, very good. Again, not a warrior. Kind of makes me mad, but it doesn't matter because the card is so good. Just a 3-mana 2/3, or you just keep dashing it. Just dash it.
It's just another aggressive dash card that works really well with the uncommon themed cards like that make them cheaper or get +2/+2. And I really feel like there's going to be build around me decks like that. And like this is just a 2/3 for 3, and we've talked about like a couple of the other ones that were like good or bad, but that's because of what their abilities do. This one having dash is going to be really good for the themed dash decks.
Right. Yeah, this card is, I mean, it triggers all the things, triggers on things that are attacking, things that are in the battlefield. He's just quality. Like they put all the right numbers on this card. 3 mana for a 2/3, just by itself is fine, but the dash for cheaper is great.
It's also great art.
It's really good art. And the flavor text ain't bad either. My Dragon Lord's lightning will dance upon your bones. That's how I imagine him saying it.
That just sounds like an evil genius, like letting me untie myself while he's telling me before he just stabs me. I'm just like, what are you saying? Keep talking.
Oh, you're going to catch him monologuing? Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying? You caught him monologuing.
Yeah.
All right. Seismic Rupture. 3 mana, 2 damage to each creature without flying. All right, I get it. You don't want to reprint Pyroclasm. I understand. I get it. Okay.
Oh, yeah, and Pyroclasm was way too good.
That card is sweet at 2 mana. Sweet. Now, would you play Seismic Rupture because it's 3 mana?
In what format?
Well, I don't know. Well, Pyroclasm did see some constructive play, but it has to be the right makeup.
I mean, we got to wait till Anger's gone.
Yeah, Anger is, I mean, it's been so good. I honestly expected to see more play, but it's still
Well,
seen lots
it's
of play.
mostly because all the red decks are low to the ground, and it does see play, but like I've never been like we'll never see a standard formula like this again, where a deck will play Seeker, Rebel Master, and Anger after board. Like it's just the weirdest like way to like I don't know how to actually explain it to somebody that hasn't played Standard in a long time, and they're like, "What's Standard like?" And I'm like, "Well, you play Creatures and Wraths," and they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "No, I mean it like." You play Goblin Realm Master, they play Goblin Realm Master, you anger the gods. Like that's just a thing.
That's the thing that happens.
But yeah, so this card's not going to be as good until that one rotates out. And
Even then, I don't know how good it is.
I mean, the red decks, like none of the red creatures survive this. Like I've actually seen a piece of technology that we've seen sometimes on Moto for the red decks is they just have a sideboard of Deathbellow Minotaurs.
Oh my
the
God.
2/3 that has attack each turn.
Right.
Well, it's great because you want to attack. Like you're not going to win a game by not attacking.
Right.
But like the decks that have like 4 Drown Stars in sideboard, you just bring these in and you go guy. They're like, all right, I'm going to drown you next turn. You're like 2/3 go. And like now they drown, but they take 2 from the thing.
Right.
And like that's a big thing. So like right now they don't have a lot of 3 toughness creatures. So this card kills literally all of them except for the Dragon Lord or the Dragon Whisperer.
Sure.
And it'll be
about
good.
that guy?
No.
Screaming Sprawler?
No, Dragon Whisperer or whatever.
Oh, the Mythic?
Isn't it called Dragon Whisperer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to make it fly. to
But
get
yeah,
around it
it
sure.
can get around this card.
Yeah.
So
It's just cool when I see old cards that were really super cool and great, which is Pyroclasm, just kind of like add a mana to it, you know,
and still make it worse.
Well, they're making it worse because it's got 3 mana to it too.
Well, it also can't hit flyers.
Oh, and Pyroclasm
could,
hit
yeah.
everything, didn't it?
Yeah, it hit everything.
Okay, yeah. This is
Even
worse.
robots.
Even robots. Sprinting. Now, all right, we'll back just a moment. Very good and limited.
Yeah.
Very good and limited. Now, it's not first pickable removal, but it is very, very good, and you should be able to put yourself in situations where you take out a couple of their morphs, or if you're just trying to be aggressive about it, you know, they play a morph and you just kill it. But generally, you should use this at its maximum capability, which is create a board state in which you're attacking, and they're like, that's weird, you know? You get in those states, and then they do like the obvious, like, okay, and then you just wipe their face. With
It's not even that.
Seismic
Like the cool thing about this is sometimes if you're in the right matchup, like you can like dash when it like on a turn, and they're like okay, and they play a guy, and then you dash again, and they're like okay, play another guy, and you're like play this, and then play out my dash creatures.
Yeah.
So you dealt some damage, did some stuff with your mana, and didn't lose any of your resources. So like that,
Nice.
this card does work well with dash in the early turns.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Sprinting Warbrute. All right, this card is sweet.
Yeah, this card is going to be the most annoying thing for my teammates for the Pro Tour because I am just going to dash him and then just be like, all right, your turn, and then go to pick it back up, just because I'm forced to do it. I'm going to do it every time. I'm just going to be like, dash.
Dude.
All right, your turn. And they're like, do you have to? Oh, I'm like, oh, that's right. Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
Attack you for 5.
Yeah, I gotta do that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Card is sweet. Almost mono dash for me, but like it's nice that it has that option basically, because 4 mana for a 5/4 haste that you return it to your hand, like that's sweet.
I also feel like this is the Ulamog's Crusher of the set. Where
that was put in there because
they just want to make you know that when you dash, you attack. And
Yeah,
you're supposed to dash. And
I love when they put that stuff on cards
Yeah.
because they tell you how to play it, and what they sort of the example they always bring up is that new players will just create like these big, huge, crazy board states, and when you put on the card must attack, they can't misplay it.
Yep.
They can't screw it up. Like when you play this guy, you should be attacking with him. He's awesome. He's a huge monster. He'll take down dragons by himself. And if you dash him, he's probably even better than that.
Yeah, I mean that's just true. Like one of the things that, like new players, they don't know how to break down boards. They get in these big ones, they don't know what to do. And I even like when I was like a couple years back, like spending a lot of time researching on like, target audiences and what I'm supposed to talk about and like certain places. And when I was like thinking about like stuff for new players, I went to the bottom tables at like Opens, Grand Prix, pre-releases, and just watched the players still doing battle at like 06.
Nice.
They're just still grinding up. And
guys
their
are awesome.
boards got so big that I didn't even know how to break them down. I was like, I have no idea what you're supposed to do. Like, how did this happen?
What did you do to yourself? Why is this happening?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a position you can be in, and this is the type of card that doesn't let you get in that position, and that's great. An earlier pick than later, I can imagine.
Middling.
Middling.
It's expensive.
It is expensive. This is one of those, like, if you see this guy versus like a really sweet 2-drop or even a 3-drop.
And you don't want a lot of them. Like, you don't want, like, 4 to dash and 5 to cast is pretty expensive. Like, I would say you probably want 1 or 2 cards at this converted mana cost in your black-red, like, dash decks.
Sure.
And so you don't want to go overboard because these are the turns where you're going to be wanting to cast your removal spells. And so, like, this guy seems decent, and maybe he's, like, the board in against, like, the bigger green decks. You're like, I just need more power.
Sure. Well, it could also be like if your removal spells aren't really relevant or you don't want to use them yet, you can always just play this guy.
Yep.
But, either way, being a common, you should be able to see him more often than not, and you do get to use 2 packs of dragons, so you should be able to see him at least a couple times.
Yeah.
Stormcrag Elemental, 6 mana for your 5/5s with your Megamorphs.
Yeah, this is a good card.
Woo-woo.
This is like
Card is really sweet.
this is straight up your King of the Morphs, Mr. Must or Colossadon or Mastodon or whatever it was.
Colossadon.
No, not the 6/5. The morph, the elephant.
Oh, the elephant guy?
I think it was
that guy
Mastodon something.
Yeah, something huge.
But like that's just what this card is. It's very good. This is premium morph. I mean, there's not much more to say about it. Like,
It's very powerful.
yeah, this is like
pick it early.
It's not as good as Pine Walker. It's not as good as the other morph, but this is like those are green creatures and this is a red creature.
Exactly.
Like this is very close. I mean, a 6/6 morphing up for 6 mana is going to hit really hard, and it has trample, and trample's really good in the format.
It's terrific. I mean, it's one of those you don't really need green, for example, to have a creature like this, which is nice. And yeah, again,
It's bigger than almost all the dragons.
Yeah, it's a huge monster, and whenever they block and you Megamorph this thing, it's going to be a crazy huge blowout. Again, pick it early, play it always, and
I would even, my gut would tell me that this is first pickable.
Sounds good.
This is a first pick.
I mean, I'm not unhappy playing this guy in any way.
No, he's really good.
That's sweet. So here's Stormwing Dragon. That's a pretty cool name. I like that.
Okay, wait, whoa. I don't think we've seen this ability. When Stormwing Dragon is turned face up,
oh god,
put a +1/+1 counter on each dragon. That is so powerful.
Dude, we've never seen that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Why do you keep doing this, Wizards? It's so weird. All I'm saying is, this is the stuff that we run up to each other, and we're like, dude, I put like 3 counters, like every time.
I flipped up a Stormwing, and then the next turn I flipped up a different dragon, and then I flipped up a different dragon.
Yeah. So they all kind of work together, which is cool. This is the first strike one where others have hexproof and others have trample or whatever, or death touch in the black. So that's cool, and that can also lead to huge blowouts, and that's really sweet.
Yeah.
So,
I'm over these ones.
it's a dragon. I can't not like a dragon.
I don't like a dragon that has half as much power toughness as it does converted mana cost. That is not appealing to me. Come on, you have to agree with me.
Well, appealing is different in different ways.
I mean, sure.
I mean,
understand
sure. I want to have.
preference.
I want to have bigger numbers on dragons. Don't get me wrong, but I also recognize that there's different ways to play with them. There's different ways to pump them, and there's some amount of gameplay that they had to provide by lowering these numbers, because if they were all high,
I
it would be
agree,
too good.
but they're all the same, and I'm bored of them, and I want to look at the other cards.
Don't get me started on those totem things we talk about.
Well, no, I'll end on the totems.
Wizards,
Yeah.
stop it. This was the laziest crap. I have never in my life been like, did you seriously copy and paste the first art and then just like say, could you put like 2 dragons in the background? That'd be great. Dude, like, you couldn't give us another angle? that would then show dragons?
Yeah.
Like, dude, come on.
This is even lazier than Enlarge.
I just can't.
Just a photoshopped kitty in the ocean.
On the thing?
Yeah.
Guys, seriously, I don't even know what to say about, like, how I am disappointed with this art. I can't believe it. I'm just like, did you really think we weren't going to notice? And did you really think we weren't going to make fun of it? Because, no. Now, back us up here. Tell us how good Summit Prowler was, when it didn't have dragons on it.
It was great.
Stayed great.
Still great.
Still great. But I'm still going to get after you about that art. Man.
It is lazy.
Lazy.
To be fair, they did zoom in a little. I think. I don't even know.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure they zoomed in just slightly. It looks bigger.
God. Tail Slash. That's a cool name, first of all. And it's, what was was it Crush Underfoot? Was that the one from Lorwyn?
There's been quite a few, actually.
Yeah.
They've been doing a lot of the red not fight fights.
Yeah. There was the one from Theros, Fall of the Anvil or something?
Fall of the Hammer.
Fall of the Hammer, that's what it was. Yep, same thing. These cards are always good, by the way.
They're premium.
Like, these are your removal spells in red. You should, pick them early, often.
They've realized that all fight now gives a +1/+1 counter or more before it fights, and all the red ones are you don't get any pluses, but you just deal the damage, and they're all phenomenal.
You will always be happy with
this. This is your Douse and Gloom for red. Like Douse and Gloom's a good card, but this is your one. You have to use it in different times, and you have to be a little bit more creature based for it, and sometimes you'll get blown out. But at the end of the day, this can be played on turn 3 when you have a 2-drop in play to kill their morph and attack them, and it can be played on turn 7 to kill a dragon when you have a big creature in play, and that makes it better than Douse and Gloom. So there is a give and take, but this is premium removal. Take it early for a red deck. You will not be sad about it.
It is amazing. It is always good, always efficient, and the fact that it doesn't have the sort of the fight drawback of my guy's going to die or my guy's going to have damage on him or whatever.
Yeah.
It's an instant, so it can be played at instant speed. I mean, you can do those things where, the guy has to be blocked by 2 or more creatures, and then you can use this to kill stuff. I mean, there's just all sorts of ways to slice and dice and just wreck your opponent with these things. Super crazy good. Pick it always, play it always. Thunderbreak Region, pick it always, play it always. It's amazing. I expect to see this thing constructed. I saw this. I do.
There's no way.
Yeah, I know, right? It's weird.
I'm not probably playing it at the Invitational.
Right, because the card's not that good. Card's great. This is the one that finally got Kibler excited. Finally. And he was just like, I can't believe it's all these dragons. I don't like these dragons. And then they break this, and he was just like, okay. I like the dragons now. Dragon is sweet. They spore this, I think, on a Japanese site or something, and I was reading the translation, and I was like, oh my god. Did they translate that right? Huh?
Yeah, it's Crackly Doom and Elspeth or Take 3.
God, it's amazing.
That is what it is.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I love this card so much.
Even
they pushed
ability,
this thing.
too.
The ability is terrific.
It's spell or ability. Saying spell or ability is just unbelievable. So Plukronos fight, this dragon is still doing 3, yeah.
No, it's so good. I love it. Oh, man. Even Arbor Colossus trying to kill it, you're still taking 3. I love that.
It doesn't make much sense, but it's fine.
I don't care. I love the fact that they made it good, and then they kept going and made it even better when it says ability.
And the flavor text is beautiful for this card, too. I don't know if you read it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
This will be the last mistake you make. All I'm saying is this thing is 100% value. This is as good as it could possibly get for a 4-mana 4/4 flyer in red that also has lightning bolts attached, or I don't know, however you want to think of it, lava spikes or whatever. Whenever you try to do anything.
Strikes. That's lightning coming out of his mouth. It's not lava.
It is lightning coming out. Yeah. Very, very good. First pickable easily.
Also,
always playable.
you have to kill it right away because doubles stack.
Double stack? Oh, from both Thunderbreak regions? Because whenever a dragon you control?
Yes.
Oh, God.
It's really gross, yeah.
Oh, man, because you play Thunderbreak region into Stormbreath Dragon, good luck, man.
Yeah.
They don't have a sweeper or we're done here. They have Elspeth -3 or we're done
Thunderbreak and Stormbreath are going to become really good buddies for a while.
Now kiss. Okay. Tormenting Voice. That art,
it's awful. But
it's not good.
Yeah, but it's also really cool flavor.
It's brilliant flavor.
I love with the Sarkhan getting it from Ugin and out. Ugin getting it from Nicobolas.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Don't get me wrong.
But his neck is too long, and
Well,
it's just weird. Like, it's just, I don't get to the art. Like, it's disturbing in
it's
a way.
little. I mean, I wouldn't call it crude per se. I would almost call it like slightly unfinished in some ways.
Maybe
but, like,
it's just that when we see Ugin from so far away, he's actually like attractive, but really up close, you see like how ugly he is.
Right.
And you just didn't notice it before.
Fucking horrific. I get it. All right. Well, I don't know. Like, Rending Voice by itself is a card that's not great. It's a card that always looks good because ultimately it's red card draw. Man, I remember we had this exact conversation before.
I feel like we go back in time.
We did, really? And you're like, it's not card draw, it's card filtering.
Yeah.
Because you play the Rending Voice and you discard the card and then you draw 2 cards, you're not actually up any
Yeah, but
cards.
there's no delving anymore, so I don't know why. This is just in here just for the flavor.
It's for the flavor, which is great and brilliant, and I love it. This is the stuff that I really wanted to see out of time travel sets.
Yep.
You know, give me the Back to the Future. Biff's a punk, Biff's great, and all kissing. Marty's
Sarkhan's
butt.
parents, yeah, like Sarkhan. Oh, he did it.
Oh,
that's why he doesn't exist anymore.
Ah?
Wow,
Oh, man.
gross.
Grossy gross. All right, Tormenting Voice. Not a great card. Looks good, doesn't play that well.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Twin Bolt. This is fire from Fire and Ice. And that's why I think that's my favorite part of this. I'm like, they just didn't want to call it fire. It's literally just the fire half of Fire and Ice.
I don't like you said, you don't want to like do fire.
Well, that's one of those names that's like, it's almost, it's cooler because it's Fire and Ice, because when it's just fire or it's just ice, it's a weird spell. You know, I fire you guys or whatever. Like, it's not cool. It's like I twin bolt your dudes. That's a really sweet name. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. And then you just, if it was called fire, like it would just be how many Beavis and Butthead, like, altars would. Eric Klug would just be swamped.
Yeah, he would have to do all the Beavis and Butthead forever. I get it. Twin Bolt is very good, though. Make no mistake. It's always playable. It helps finish creatures off. It helps kill morphs. Mm-hmm. I mean, you pick it early, you play it always. It's a burn spell.
Legolas did this once, right?
This
is making me think of Legolas.
I think he did more than that. I think he did like 3 or 4. And he was like, wow. And it was just like, pow. Yeah, he's
impressive.
He's an elf.
Yeah.
Yep. He's not mythical or made up. Vandalize. I like these. I want more modal spells. I love this. I love seeing the bullet points. Like, here's what you can do. Just pick what you like and just do it and run it and go.
We'll put them on better cards.
Well, yeah. I mean, this card's bad, but it's okay. I love the fact you can choose one or both. It's really cool. Land destruction is bad. Land destruction has to be bad because if you have never played in a world full of Stone Rain, and thank God, I think it's like going on 7-8 years before has ever been in standard at this point.
Was that the old Magnivore Blue-Red deck?
Yep, that was the Magnivore Annex.
I'm old.
Yeah, we're
that was my first Nationals.
Yep. Way to be old,
Well,
buddy.
I didn't play in it.
Lol.
Yeah, I went to watch my brother play in JSS.
I think that might have actually been 10 years ago.
No, it wasn't 10.
Okay, fine. Either way, land destruction sucks now because land destruction is unfun. And Stone Rain was 3 mana to destroy land, and that lived in Magic sets for years. I mean,
there's like
years and years,
8
years and
reprints
years.
or whatever, yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It was in all sorts of different sets. It was in like the new player set, for God's sake.
Yeah.
Like they put that card everywhere because they were just sure that like land destruction is cool and dynamic and interesting and isn't nice to be able to destroy land and this is Red's flavor and blah, 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 blah. No, it's absolutely miserable. And they had a blue enchantment that took a land called Annex, and they had Stone Rain. And so between Stone Rain and your
Literally
thing...
boomerang effects. Boomerang was a blue-blue. One was sorcerer, one was instant.
Yep.
It just was a bounce target permanent.
Yep.
And this was just a standard deck where you would just turn to, you're like, bounce your land, Stone Rain you, Stone Rain you, Stone Rain you.
Annex.
Play this, Annex it. No, the blue-red deck didn't play Annex. It just played all Stone Rain effects.
Really?
Yeah, and then you just played the Magnivore because you had Magnivore.
could've sworn
Also,
they
yeah,
played
all you
Annex.
did was bounce and kill lands, cast Wildfires, which sacrifice lands,
was nuts.
Tidings, which drew a bunch of cards,
Yep.
to continue killing lands, and then you killed them with Magnivore.
They still played Annex. That much I absolutely
Okay,
remember.
maybe, but Magnivore, there were different versions. Like these decks
There were.
listed for a year and a half. Like,
Oh, God,
Like
they
for
were
example,
so
like
miserable.
if you think like Magic, like Mono Black Devotion and Mono Blue Devotion wasn't fun, there was literally a year of land denial decks being tier 1.
And then in the middle of it was like Umezawa Shite.
Oh yeah, Umezawa should
And then-
take creature decks.
And
Yeah.
like Paladin Onvec became the best creature in Standard because it didn't die to Wildfire and it could block Magnivore and it could get first strike, so the first strike counters on the Umezawa Shite, so it gets his counters first.
Oh yeah, that
Like-
card was busted.
Oh, of course it was.
Good against hand in hand.
Oh yeah, it was great. Like Paladin Onvec just all of a sudden.
No wonder I could see
Best
how
thing.
Magic was dying around that time. Those decks were awful.
They were miserable.
all of them. They
Thank you,
were terrible.
RD. They're better now. This
Yeah.
card's bad. Don't play it. Volcanic Rush, 5 mana. Like, all right, so you get your Trumpet Blast, and then you got to pay 2 more mana for Trample for everybody.
Well,
Is that good enough?
no. Well, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know, man. It feels weird.
This is a hard card to evaluate because it's always difficult to do that because I have to see how the creatures like match up with each other.
Well, sure, and you also have to kind of see where your curve is. You know,
Yeah.
this is the type of card that feels like it's better in a draft because you can kind of put this at the top of your curve and really get your 2, 3, 4 drop or even 5 drop, and then you're like, okay, sweet, and then Volcanic Rush and kill you because it kind of puts you over the top. They try to block all your dudes and you just kill them, which is sweet because Trumpet Blast, as cool as it was, you could be chump blocked to death, where this kind of prevents that as well as getting damage on top.
Yeah, it might be good.
It might be. It's one of those cards you really don't want to run a lot of. It's just too expensive to do that, and
Yep.
you need such a board presence. Otherwise, it doesn't do anything. So, don't pick it early. Don't play it often. Volcanic Vision is a huge blowout.
Yeah, this card's really good.
Holy God!
You thought Doom Blast was annoying to play against? This is just a
Woo!
one-sided.
This is a Plague Wind, and Plague Wind just destroyed all your opponent's creatures for like 9 mana, and this is just for 7 mana. So not only do you get to regrowth your best removal spell, whatever that is.
Well, to be fair, in Limited, you do have to play at least a high density of expensive spells.
At least, but we're talking but again, a
The
sorcerer in instant, like a 4 or 5 mana, is still amazing with this
Yeah.
thing. Oh, I'll return Sarkhan's whatever, that red spell thing, and 5 to all your dudes, which is probably going to kill every single one of them. And anything that lives after that is certainly not going to be able to block anything and live.
Yeah, this is really good. I think it's going to be a very good, like, if you open this, your goal is to be blue-red.
Oh yeah, you want the big spells, you want the slow
card
the game down.
advantage,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want the rebound spells that are super expensive, that type of stuff. Like this card is a blowout, is a huge limited bomb, unbelievable. These are the types of spells that like the real hardcore spikes that just don't understand. Like Magic can be fun sometimes. Like when the bad players get the good spells and they're like, oh, Volcanic Vision away your whole team, and they had like some crazy advantage or whatever. They're just like, oh, God, card's stupid. Can't believe they made that card.
Now, that doesn't happen anymore. That got beat out of all of us during Scars of Mirrodin. That was all just 6-mana bombs. Like every time you play
Every
Limited
rare is
Scars-
like a ridiculous bomb. Same thing for Fate Reforged. Every rare was ridiculous.
Oh, but getting killed by Citadel Siege is just the most infuriating thing on the planet.
I like having it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Card is amazing. First pick, no problem. Always play. Unbelievable blowout. Warbringer. This is a cool one.
Oh, this is the
guy who
yes.
added Mardu mana, and now he's dash cost 2 less, which is
Yep.
sweet. That card's sweet.
Yeah, this card is really good. You're gonna see this be the build around me deck, just because like the dash cost being 2 less is really good. Like it just becomes
really powerful.
black dash something, red dash something, red dash something.
Yep.
And because there's so many dash effects, that's just what's gonna happen. So like if you just play this guy, which he's just a 3/3 for 4, which is a great stat.
Hill Giant.
Your opponent is just always afraid of you just being like, whoopsie.
Oh, I just put 3 cards into play and blah. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna put them right back
And you have
up.
that uncommon that gives +2/+2 when they dash. And like,
Heyo.
this is a good
A
card.
lot of synergy, easily early pickable. I don't know about first pickable, but I don't know, man. It depends on how good the dash stuff is.
I think that this is a first pick. It's like your lord.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's crazy good. You're going to love it. It's going to bring your deck to victory, and I like the name. Warbringer's awesome. Warbringer. Ooh, he's going to bring it to the war. Ooh, card's good. Zergo Bellstriker. I mean, he became a huge weenie. He's kind of a big wuss. He can't block creatures with power 2 or more anymore, but he can hit that bell and a bang, bang, bang.
To be fair, maybe
fair.
he didn't get the opportunities he once had to become that. He
gotcha.
His origin story just didn't give him a chance to become that superior.
Yeah.
He probably is doing fine. He probably likes his job. He's got a good family to go home to. He doesn't have to worry about an entire clan to take care of.
Nice,
like,
nice.
yeah.
He's got some kids.
Everyone's just making fun of this guy.
Zergo, I mean, he's got some bills. He wants to be the bill striker.
I'm just
but he can't.
saying that there has to be Judge Diggers. And he is doing a very good job.
He's digging them ditches.
He is ringing the bell, getting Kolaghan to come take some action when he needs Kolaghan.
So he's going to ring your bell. All right. See, I can't do any old music references to you, dude.
Nope.
Zero.
Unless it's like,
I could have just
Smash Mouth. I was 12 once too.
Lord God. Oh, no. All right. Zergo Bell Striker.
Never once Smash Mouth?
Of course Smash Mouth, but still, it doesn't
Okay.
mean we bring it up. It's like Limp
What?
Bizkit. We don't talk about it.
I am not embarrassed of being young. Ignorance is bliss, and Smash Mouth is great. I will still believe that I am an all-star.
You're going to get your game on?
I'll go play.
God! Oh! Circle Bell Striker is very good. It's very, very good. I expected to see Constructor play. 1 red 2/2s are good and playable. Dash is great. It's around Wraths.
I'm just gonna say that
Wait, are you about to make some pie bets on this guy?
no, dude, no.
Dude, I'm all about.
No,
I'm gonna give
he
me a
will-
Brad.
He will top.
Here
8.
it is.
He will top 8. There's
Of
just
course
too many
he
of them.
will.
But I will just say that before we did these reviews, I was talking to Tom literally before we got, and you're just like, "Let's go, we're ready to go now." And he's like, we're talking about the invitation. I was like, "Yeah, I'm not playing red." And he's just like, "Yeah, all these new bread cards. Still think deck's not good." Tom Russ, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, yeah, the guy's amazing. The guy's fantastic.
But I'm just saying,
I'm
I'm
just
not going to
saying.
bet because he's still, like, this deck is probably going to average a 12% top 8 percentage in standard opens. Like, it'll be 1 out of 8 every time. I guarantee it.
Oh, you know the spikes when they start running the percentages on you. They're just like, well, there's a 38% chance he could have drew that out, and he drew it. It's whatever.
Arbitrary numbers are the best.
They really are. Always play it. Now, this is a
98%
card,
of the time.
well, I like this card a lot, and as a 1-mana 2/2 is good. It's all. It needs the warrior deck. It needs the aggressive deck. You don't play
you
this in
kidding
anything
me?
slow, but what?
You always play this card in if you're playing red, you play this card.
Yeah.
Yeah, every
well,
time.
I just said you always play it, and you're like,
I said 98% because of our arbitrary number.
Atarka's Command. Here we are.
Multicolored.
Everyone is flipping out over this card. I mean, just like, this is the best charm. Dirt. I'm like, okay, it's good. It's good. It pumps all your team. That's fantastic.
What team?
Well, I mean, you know, if you have like duder guys, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think
it
this
pumps
card's
a
that
team
good.
that isn't there.
I've already said it. Like, we said it before when we were talking about the other command. I think that this is potentially one of the weakest ones, even though everyone's losing their mind.
Well, they're
And it
just
doesn't
like,
make any
oh my
sense.
God, modern has changed forever. The landscape will never be the same. And I'm like, you say so. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it's just whenever a card doesn't interact with their opponent and doesn't let them gain life and gets you closer to winning a game, everyone thinks that's insane. Because, and I don't care if I take flack for this, people just want to kill everyone with dragons, and every card like this is, I consider a dragon. They just, non-interactive kill you.
You consider 2-mana modal spells dragons?
Well, so when Thunder Hellkite came out, it kind of redefined the way Magic got played, right? Because now, like, anyone
I don't know
could
about
just
it
win.
first, but it took a while. Sure.
Well, sure, but once it took there, anyone could win with a dragon.
Yeah.
Everyone just like cast attack. It did all the work for you. It's like all those guys are tapped. I don't have to worry about combat take 5.
Woo,
And if I have
Lingering
another one, you're
Souls,
dead.
da-da-da-da-da,
Yeah.
kill that crap.
And so ever since then, like, you could just win very easily, and like you could always die. Like it was really the best players' win percentages went down, and it kind of got more into the middle, right?
Okay.
So then ever since then, people have just been conditioned to love non-interactive ways to just win games.
Well, I mean, you know, like, who wants to interact when you just win?
I do. I love interacting.
Lol. If you could just win, you would just
I mean, I did that with Green White, right? Like that was the weekend where I chose not to interact.
Oh, God.
I mean, that was our.
You see what you've done?
Wait, you never even heard our shtick. I can tell this because I never even wrote about it. Like my brother's just like, I'm like, all right, we're playing this deck. He's like, all right, so are you gonna help me play test or like learn how to play it and stuff? I'm like, yeah. All right, so here are the rules of it. Don't interact with your opponents. Gain as much life as possible. Chump block frequently.
What have you done to Standard, man? Why? Like, I'm so glad that deck just showed up in the last 2 weeks or whatever, so it wasn't this thing from the get-go. It was
It
cool.
can still exist.
Oh, God, shut up, Brad. No one wants that deck to exist. That deck is miserable.
We'll find out how to win the mirrors.
Miserable.
It's great.
Miserable.
My opponent put me at 1 with an Oppo Siege on Dragons,
right.
and I passed the turn at 33 life. It's
So,
great.
so no matter what, that's funny. No matter what happens, This is great in limited. This is a great limited card. It's in your green-red aggro decks. It still does a ton of stuff.
Yep.
Even if that land ability is kind of dumb and random, like it's still good and really sweet. So, the end. Dragonlord Atarka, woo-woo!
The biggest of the dragons.
Oh my god, the house with wings, ladies and gentlemen. It is flying through the air and it is plopping on people. Plopping! Like on the, what was it, the bad witch of the whatever? Something in the east or the west, the south, such and such.
The one that she killed?
The one that she killed.
Yeah.
Thank you. Memories.
What?
Well, I ain't got them.
I don't... that was that movie where the lady...
You can't even name the movie?
No, it's the one where she goes and
Oh
kills...
my god.
She goes and kills and then lusts for blood and picks up 3 more companions to kill again, right?
Lust for blood. You got it.
Yep.
You got it. One of the greatest cinematic achievements of all time. Lust for blood. All right. Dragonlord Atarka is sweet. Pushed, super pushed, and then pushed one more time with that ability that still happens even if you play another one. This is the only dragon, and I pointed this out in the show, this is the only dragon that still does something when you play a second copy.
Oh, that's true.
Which is nice. Now again,
It is nice, yeah.
the numbers are exactly right. They kill the Elspeth that is +1. That's fantastic. They only hit creatures or planeswalkers, so it's not quite Bogard and Hellkite, but my god, it's an 8/8 flying trample for 7 mana. Card is completely absurd and limited, like absolutely first pick, absolutely always playable, love it. And in Constructed, I absolutely see this happening. This is going to get there.
Yeah, no, oh, for sure. It doesn't cost that much mana, and so the reason that I think this card is going to be good in Constructed is it does one of the things that you need cards to do in Center, which is interact with what your opponent just did, and they're forced to interact with your thing, and now you get to untap with initiative. So let's say like you had no board, and they go, or like you play something, they go kill it, untap, play something. They spent 2 turns to do that, right? So you untap, play this, kill it, then they untap, kill it, and all of a sudden now you have wasted 3 of their turns for 2 of your turns. And now you get to start the chain again, and that's when you play your Whisperwood and you start getting ahead or another something. Like,
nice.
I love that it breaks the mold and gives you initiative, and that's one of the big words that I use with Standard now.
He's an initiative guy.
Yep.
I just like big crazy dragons smash people's faces.
Yep.
Smash!
Evan is a dragon guy.
Woo woo! Yeah, all over the target train. Harbinger of the Hunt. That's a 5-mana 5/3 flyer. It's dealing damage to everything without flying. It's dealing damage to everything with flying.
Except itself.
Except itself, which is amazing. Like this card, just like all the other rare dragons, instantly playable, easily first pickable, always include them in your decks, and not going to be seen in Constructed.
Yep.
Okay, next.
Too far.
No, Savage Ventmaw.
We have to get to this one.
This card's a weird one. It's good and limited. Don't get me wrong. It's really sweet that it makes a bunch of mana.
After you get to your 6-drop and attack, you get up to 12 mana.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're gonna do with it. I don't have a clue actually.
It's neat though. There's like I saw some people having like some cool combos and whatnot with like activated abilities that cost mana, stuff like that. There's some formidable
like
that one. So when you have your rare and your sweet uncommon dragon and you're attacking with both of them, you could win the game at that point. It is possible, which is really cool. I like the fact that it adds back its own mana cost, which is neat. So again, this is one of those cards that it looks good. I think it will play just fine. The fact that it just keeps the mana is sweet. Like it gives you so much to dash with. So much to just play with for activated
because
abilities.
you can dash all your mana, then get more mana to cast real spells on your second main phase.
Exactly.
But at the same time, I think it is the worst dragon of all of them, even the ones from Fate Reforged. Just because it's the only ability doesn't actually have any interaction. You have to have resources. Like extra mana is not something that's really that relevant. It is interesting that it can be cast and then attack and then lets you flip up morphs. So that's like the coolest thing.
That is cool. You get to kind of, it allows you to megamorph stuff pretty easily, which is nice. You get 6 free mana. That's cool. And the fact that, you play it and then you untap and then you attack and you have 6 mana all of a sudden, plus the 6 you use to play it, then you got 12 mana to do something. And that should be megamorphing up your other uncommon dragons to add
Good thing we're going to Zendikar, right?
Okay. Atarka Monument. Really? Really? This is like made of like sticks and twigs and like spit and bubblegum. And all the other ones have like these really cool monuments that are like super sweet and like totally artisan and blah, blah, blah.
Atarka's a dick and keeps burning it down.
I guess, but like what about the black-red one? What about Kolaghan? That guy's one looks absolutely amazing.
It's exactly it. It's because Atarka just burns everything. He's the Burninator. He just shows up, burns his own monument. He doesn't care.
Atarka is Trogdor, isn't he?
Yeah.
Atarka's Trogdor.
He doesn't care. And then they're just like, I guess we'll put it back up, but like just sticks. Like, have you ever broken a spider's web? The next one's not that good. They kind of give up. You break them.
Man, we have ran out of so many things to say about these monuments. We're talking about spiders and breaking their will. I broke that spider's wheel. I didn't even know. All right. I'm not even going to talk about this monument. Let's go back to the 3 others we did already, where we spoke at length over these ridiculous things. And it's fine. It's good. Play it, whatever. Don't play multiples because they're weird. The end. Yes?
So you don't have to.
Oh!
Not the actual end?
Oh, God,
okay.
man, you're messing it up. Dude. They're watching us. There's lots of people on the other side of that camera.
Oh. Really? People watch these things?
Jesus, all the way.
I thought we just did this for fun.
I know, right? We're just hanging out playing, talking about Magic.
I'm going to be doing this with like BBD right after this.
I know, right?
I
And then
you
long
just
card
I
rides.
thought you
That's
just
all
do
you
this
do.
with everyone.
Right.
Oh.
I do.
Huh.
Everyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys for hanging out with us and talking about all the red cards, all of Atarka's cards. We have one more to go, which will be Dramaka, or however I'm mispronouncing it.
Chroma.
Which will be really fun and will allow us to wrap up our entire Dragons of Tarkir set review. Thank you very much for watching, and for Evan Irwin,
Brad Nelson.
tapping the cards.
So you don't have to.
See you next time.